Good morning, friends. I'm Pastor Deborah, and I'm so excited to see you. I really enjoyed hearing all of your joyful noise as you're playing and learning and making new friends on the playground. Since I live right next door, I get to hear and watch and learn and grow with you. I want to invite you to join me in singing this opening song and lighting our candles together. And again, you can hold up your finger as your light if you don't have a candle that you can light with fire. So I'm going to light my candle and then we're going to sing. Boom, 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 now we sing. Light one candle for love, one bright candle for love. God brings love to every heart. God's here, God's near. Light one candle for joy, one bright candle for joy. God brings joy to every heart. God's here, God's near. Light one candle for peace, one bright candle for peace. God brings peace to every heart. God's here, God's near. Hello, my friends. I'm so excited about today's chapel story. Today's book is called Malala's Magic Pencil, and it's actually written by Malala Yousafzai, and she tells her own story. And I hope that you feel inspired by this story as much as I am. Do you believe in magic? When I was younger, I used to watch TV about a boy who had a magic pencil. If he was hungry, he drew a bowl of curry, and it appeared. If he and his friends were in danger, he drew a police officer. The boy was a little hero, always protecting people who needed help. How I wanted a magic pencil, too. If I had a magic pencil, I would use it to put a lock on my door so my brothers couldn't bother me. Stop time so I could sleep an extra hour every morning. Erase the smell of the trash dump near our house. And I would use it to make other people happy. I would draw the most beautiful dresses in the world for my mother, the best buildings in the valley for my father, so he could open many schools where children would study for free. A proper ball so my brothers and I no longer had to play with an old sock stuffed with rubbish. Every night before I went to bed, I wished for a magic pencil of my own. And every morning, I would wake up and check my cupboard, but the magic pencil was never there. One day, I was throwing away potato peels and eggshells at the dump. I was wrinkling my nose, swatting away flies, and making sure I didn't step on anything dirty in my nice shoes, when I saw a girl about my age sorting through trash piles. Nearby, boys were fishing for metal scraps using magnets on strings. When my father returned home from work, I told him what I'd seen. It made him sad. Abba, I said. Yes, Johnny, he said back. I always liked when he called me dear one. Why haven't I seen that girl in my class? Because, he said. But he didn't finish right away. Because, Johnny, in our country, not everyone sends their daughters to school. Those boys will sell the metal scraps they find. If they went to school, their families would go hungry. School was my favorite place, but I never considered myself lucky to be able to go. My father had always said, Malala will live free as a bird. Now I wondered how freed I'd truly be. That night I thought about families who didn't have enough food, and the girl who couldn't go to school, and even about how when I was older I would be expected to cook and clean for my brothers because where I came from, many girls weren't allowed to become what they dreamed of. I knew then that if I had a magic pencil, I would use it to draw a better world, a peaceful world. First, I would erase war, poverty, and hunger. Then I would draw girls and boys together as equals. Over the next few years, instead of wishing for a magic pencil every night, I worked hard in school every day. I wanted to be one of the top students in my class. But soon powerful and dangerous men declared that girls were forbidden from attending school. They walked the streets of our city now. They carried weapons. One by one, girls stopped coming to school. Abba, where are all the students? I asked. They don't feel safe here anymore, Yanni. How could a few men stop all the girls in our valley from going to school? If more people knew what was happening to us, I thought they might help. Wishing wasn't enough. Someone needed to speak out. Why not me? I wrote about what it felt like to be scared to walk to school and how some of my friends had moved away because of the threat faced in our city. I wrote about how much I loved school and how proud I was of my uniform. Once I started writing, I didn't stop. I wrote speeches and traveled around my country sharing my story. I even talked to a reporter from a famous international newspaper. People actually wanted to learn about my life. I spoke for all the girls in my valley who couldn't speak for themselves. My voice became so powerful that the dangerous men tried to silence me, but they failed. And now my voice is louder than ever. Louder because people have joined me, and together we make a chorus, standing up for what we believe. We raise our voices for those in need. Help people in danger even if they are an ocean away. Think of the world as a family. Do you still believe in magic? I do. I wrote alone in my room, but people all over the world were reading my story. Millions now know and help me spread my message of hope. I had at last found the magic I was looking for in my words and in my work. I am Malala. I've always wished I could make the world a more peaceful place. And every day I work to make my wish come true. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. The end. I hope that you love this story as much as I do. And remember that every one of us already has our magic pencil because we have our voice and all of the ways we can love each other and stand up for what's right. And you may have noticed that Malala dresses a little differently than some of us do. And that's because she wears a head covering, an hijab, for her religion because she's Muslim. So every one of us looks different, has different religions we practice and different ways that we dress. We all work together to raise our voices and use our magic pencils to make the world a more peaceful and loving place for everyone. Friends, will you pray with me? And then we will sing some songs. Sometimes I like to put my hands together like this to pray, and sometimes I put my hands like this to pray. And some people put their hands just quietly in their laps to pray. You can do that any way that works for you, but we always close our eyes so we can focus on what God might be saying to our hearts, and so we can focus on God when we pray. So if you will pray with me, you can repeat after me, okay? Dear God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you made. We thank you for loving us and taking care of us. God, we thank you for the animals, for the plants, for the water, for the light. God, help us take care of your world. Help us take care of each other and always show love and kindness. Amen. Well, thank you, friends. Now I have a song that I would love for us to sing together, and we're going to sing two songs. And the first one is God's got the whole world in his hands. You can imagine God holding the world like this, just like we might hold a rabbit or hold a baby. And we sing together. God's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. God's got you and me in his hands. God's got you and me in his hands. God's got you and me in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. God's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. God's got all the rabbits in his hands. God's got all the rabbits in his hands. God's got all the rabbits in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. God's got all the plants in his hands. God's got all the plants in his hands. God's got all the plants in his hands. God's got the whole world in his hands. God's got all the teachers in his hands. God's got all the teachers in his hands. God's got all the teachers in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. So you can say anything in that song because God takes care of everything. And you can make that song go on and on as long as you want. So I invite you and encourage you to make up your own lyrics about everything that God cares for. And our last song that we're going to sing together is called This Little Light of Mine. And many of you might know it. And this is where we learn about how we let our light shine. Remember, I said God made each one of us special and beautiful to share God's love in the world in all of our unique and beautiful different ways. And so this song is about sharing that light and that love. And we can use our fingers like a candle. Okay? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine, hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine, hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All right, friends. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great week. And now we're going to say our goodbye song and we'll put out our candles. So I'm going to put out each of the candles and then I'm going to say the goodbye song. We're going to sing it together. Now we sing. We leave with a song to take on our way, on our way, on our way. We leave with a song to take on our way, to sing to others each day. We leave with a song to take on our way, on our way, on our way. We leave with God's love to take on our way, to share with others each day. All right, friends, have a great week. Say hi to Chama when you see him on the playground. Bye.